Welcome to the Association 100 podcast. The A100 podcast is an extension of our Association 100 bi-monthly newsletter that focuses on best practices, top trends, helpful ideas, and smart strategies and tactics that work in the world of associations. The podcast will feature meaningful conversations with association professionals across the country, taking a deeper dive into trending topics, offering insights that both inform and inspire.
Welcome back to the A100 podcast. I'm your host, Colleen Gallagher, and I'm joined by my co-host, Christine Stay. We've got an amazing conversation teed up for you today. And before we jump in, I want to share a bit about today's guest. Kinsey Fabrizio is the president of the Consumer Technology Association, which represents more than 1,300 consumer tech companies, and owns and produces CES, which so many of our listeners already know as the most powerful tech event in the world. CTA was my very first job and will always hold a very special place in my heart. So I'm thrilled to have Kinsey. And in her role as president, she sits on CTA's executive board and drives strategy and growth for both CES and CTA, leading the CES, membership, conferences, and marketing and communications departments. And what I love about her story is that she has been with the association since 2008. And during that time, she's played a pivotal role in truly transforming CTA and CES. Most recently, as SVP since 2022, she managed all things CES, leading a dramatic expansion of CES sales and overseeing international media events, conferences, and show operations. Before that, she led efforts to increase member and exhibitor recruitment as lead for strategic growth in emerging tech categories. I could go on, but just a couple more highlights before we jump into things. Kinsey was awarded the Woman in CT Legacy Award in 2023, recognizing her longtime leadership and contributions to the consumer tech industry. And she was also named to Dealerscope's 40 Under 40 in 2015. We know our listeners will gain so much from her experiences, and we're really excited to have this conversation today. So welcome, Kinsey, and thank you so much for joining us on the A100 today.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to see you again and to be here with you.
Likewise, it's exciting to have you. And first off, congratulations on this still relatively new role as president of CTA. Can you share with us your journey within the organization and talk to me about how your experiences have really prepared you for this leadership position?
Yeah, well, like you said, I have really grown up at CTA. I started here in 2008 in our membership team and immediately fell in love with the organization. The people who work at CTA are amazing. The tech industry is so exciting. It's never boring. It's so great to see amazing innovation all the time. What's more exciting than technology? And the work that CTA does really drew me in. And I knew instantly that I loved it here and wanted to, find a way to really grow my career. And I had a wonderful time working in the membership team. I worked with some of our industry programs and really found a passion for digital health. And I just thought this was the most exciting category. And actually, Colleen, I have a great memory of you from probably 2010 or 2011. We were doing a satellite media tour for health and fitness wearables, and Colleen did the whole thing running on a treadmill, which, how impressive to do the satellite media tour while running. I just need to shout that out because I don't know if we appreciated you enough back in the day when you did that. But
That's so funny. I almost forgot about that.
That sounds
great.
about right. Knowing Colleen, that sounds about right.
It was so cool. Jack Cutts, who worked here at the time, he and I were like, Colleen is amazing for doing this. But digital health really emerged as my passion. And I found different ways and opportunities to work with that category and grow it, and eventually created a health and fitness technology division and governing board of directors within our membership team. And that just continued to expand and grow. And it became this really big portfolio within CTA. We were seeing a lot of new member companies in this space and a lot of new exhibitors at CES in this space. We have conference programming, the Digital Health Summit, which we still have today at CES. It's the most popular conference track when we do our post-show analysis. We always have great attendance at the Digital Health Summit sessions. So I continued to ask for new opportunities and work on projects. And that led me to ultimately leading membership. And then that led me to leading all revenue and sales for CES and membership, which then ultimately led to running CES and then graduating into the position that I'm in now. And I am so lucky because, like I said, one of the first things I realized I loved about CTA was the people. We have the smartest, most talented people here at CTA. And I just feel lucky that I get to work with them every day and learn from them every day and collaborate with them. And we have a really fun time. Every day at work, I feel happy to come to work and that it's a lot of fun.
That's so important. And not a lot of people can say that when you
I
look at
know.
stats around people and their jobs. So that's awesome. And what stands out to me is that you said you asked for new opportunities and you
I
kept
did.
asking. I think that's so important. Is that kind of your top advice, or what would that top advice be for someone that does want to work their way up in an association?
I have two pieces of advice. One, definitely ask for new opportunities, but make sure when you do that, you're explaining the why. What problem is this going to solve? And what's going to be the impact and the relevance or the revenue? Where will this opportunity that you're asking for or you're proposing take the organization to the next level? That's one piece of advice for how to grow your career, really be impactful. And then the second piece of advice is to find a really good mentor. And I am so lucky. I have so many mentors, but one in particular who's just amazing is our Chief Operating Officer, Glenda McMullen. And I very quickly connected with her and I asked her if she would be my mentor. And she, thankfully, all those years ago, agreed. And she's been my mentor for 16 years. And she's just phenomenal. And she's taught me so much. She never has told me what to do, but she has taught me the right tools so that I could figure out how to ask the right questions and think critically and get to the what to do on my own. So I'm lucky to have her as a mentor. And I've had so many other mentors. Gary is a great mentor. They're wonderful female leaders in the tech industry that serve as mentors for me. So I think that's a really important part of my journey.
That's so big, especially having the tools and not just saying do this, but equipping you to make those decisions on your own and feel confident in it. That's huge. And I have to laugh because I think you're the second really awesome female leader in the last month that's on our podcast said, I went and asked someone to be my mentor. Find those people and get them in your circle.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when the announcement came out from CTA, it seemed really thoughtful and a lot of planning had gone into it. And we actually recently did an entire episode around succession planning. So I know it's so crucial for any association. From your perspective, how important was that planning process at CTA and ensuring a smooth transition into this new role? And what do you think other associations can learn from your experience?
It's been a wonderful experience and it's been very smooth. Gary very strategically wanted to make sure that I gained experience working with teams and understanding the core functions of our organization. And he really took the initiative to help lead and guide that. And I wanted to do it. And I, again, would ask for opportunities and I wanted to learn these core business functions of our organization outside of what I already knew. So he was very thoughtful in that. I think succession planning is so important honestly, with every team in the organization. I always think about that. There's so many smart, talented people. And I think about this person, we want to make sure we elevate them. And then who's going to step into their role and spotting and looking for talent and making sure that those individuals have great opportunities, that they're able to learn and do things outside of their roles and responsibilities. I think that's really important. And I also think it's important, this is something that CTA does really well, but give employees opportunities to move around to different teams and departments to figure out what they like and where they fit in. And I'll even work with someone and realize, oh, this person is so good at this skill set. I wonder if they'd be interested in supporting this project. And sometimes that'll even turn into, oh, now they're going to work with this department. So I think succession planning on all levels is really important.
I love that you're saying, especially about moving around, because sometimes it can get a little stale or you feel like you're stuck in one place. And those are the people you don't want to lose, but they don't know that they have those opportunities. So it sounds like CT is doing that correctly.
Absolutely. And we really try to create those opportunities. There's so many great people here. And you're right, you don't want them to get stuck. You want them to be able to try new things. And there's no shortage of new things to get to try here.
Yeah, and actually it's a nice segue into what we're going to talk about is CTA is the forefront of technology and innovation. How is the association navigating the conversation around artificial intelligence with its members, especially considering the diverse applications in consumer technology?
So we look at it a few different ways. One, we're looking at what AI tools we want to use internally as an organization to help with our own business intelligence and to help us be more efficient and productive. We also look at AI in terms of how we can enhance our customer experience, whether that's for our members or for our CES attendees and exhibitors, and how AI can be used to make a better registration experience or a better on-site experience at CES or a better experience while using CES app. So we look at that. And then we also have the responsibility, we're the trade association for the entire tech industry, of making sure that we create industry engagement and initiatives that center around AI and the companies in the AI space, as well as the companies utilizing AI. So we have AI working groups. AI is a big focus of our policy work as well as our standards work. We have several standards teams that are focused on developing and standardizing different AI technologies. So we produce a standard for AI in healthcare, which is really important to get the key players of the industry together to say, here's where we're all, need to be focused and thinking about the end user experience.
And that's great because I know that obviously there's a growing influence in various sectors like healthcare and digital health, especially. And I know that you were saying that these standard policies, that's one of the steps that you're taking to convey that support safe and effective AI applications in healthcare. Talk a little bit more about those standards that you're doing.
Yeah. So I want to make sure I say the right number because there's so many. We published 29 digital health standards,
Wow.
which is just phenomenal, right? And to be in that space. But one really great example of an amazing standard that we produce in the digital health category is for over-the-counter hearing aids. And this standard is actually used in reference by the FDA in their ruling that made hearing aids available for purchase over the counter. And that was something that was really important to CTA and to the work of this group to be a part of that standards work. When you think of standards, CTA is behind a lot of the standards that you use and might not even know. Airplane mode on your phone. Colleen, you probably remember you were here at CTA when we wrote that standard. And I remember being on the first airplane ride where they announced that you could now use your phone on the plane in airplane mode. And there were lots of CTA staff on the plane. The whole plane erupted in cheers. It was really cool.
That is such a fun fact. Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah. Closed captioning was a CTA standard. And then we've partnered with so many other groups. TV standards, 4K and 8K, the development of both of those standards, that was a collaborative effort with several other groups. CTA was very involved and then actually created through our standards program, the logo. So when you buy a 4K or an 8K TV, the logo that you see on the box was created by CTA.
Amazing. I love seeing the growth and development. That was always one of the coolest things when I was there, was learning about that and trying to understand, because you always heard those things. And then all of a sudden you realize that's what associations do. That was one of the first ways I was actually able to describe to my family what an association did, because that made sense to them.
Yes, you're so right. It's a great, tangible example.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, crystal ball time. In this new role, you're working alongside Gary as CEO now. What are your leadership visions and goals for both CTA and CES?
Well, I think about two core things that are really important to the future success of our organization. One is our people, our staff, and the other one is our customers. And those are two things that are just utmost priority and importance for me personally. Our people, that's one of our biggest assets. They are our lobbying team. They are the team bringing industry together to develop standards. That's our research team, and they're pulling together wonderful resources for the industry. They're the team planning and executing CES. So our people are just so critical and really continuing to build our culture and make sure that we continue to have the best people and that our people are really successful. So that's very important to me. And then our customers are the most critical part of our organization. There are members, there are exhibitors, there are attendees, there are the media. We have so many groups of customers, and making sure that we deliver the best trade show experience possible and the best, most valuable membership for our customers. Those are so important. And so those two areas are areas that we really focus on. When I think about the future of CES and where we can go there, it's exciting. I think the tech industry, it's constantly evolving, and CES is amazing because we are on the forefront and it's a look into the future. And what at CES is truly mind blowing. There were flying cars at CES 2024. It's just, yeah, it's awesome. There's something for everybody in every single category. And I think that's an area where I want to make sure we continue to expand into new categories. And we work to be on the forefront of that. I also think it's important that CES that we look to start attracting a little bit of a younger demographic in our show. Of course, we want the attendees that we have, but how do we make sure that Gen Zers really understand the value of live events and trade shows and participating? This is an age that was really impacted. Their behavior was impacted during COVID. And we want to make sure that we're appealing to that audience and being in front of them. Another opportunity for CES, I think, is the changing media landscape. You guys are probably very familiar with this, but it's the Wild West out there. And one of the most wonderful things about CES is the platform and the media coverage. But that is changing. And who you think of typical media is changing. And we are right there ready for that change and want to make sure that influencers come to CES and independent journalists come to CES, and that we're creating an experience that is welcoming for that type of media and the new type of media that we're seeing as well. And of course, I always want to continue to expand our global presence and outreach. CES 2024 had 51,000 attendees from outside the US. And we love that. That's a number. It's an amazing accomplishment to have 41% of our attendees be from outside the US. And we want to make sure that we continue to expand that and create a global environment where people from all over the world can come together and focus on innovation and how technology is solving the world's biggest challenges and creating all these opportunities.
That all sounds amazing. And some big takeaways I want to just make sure to highlight from what you said for our listeners here. So when it comes to associations, your people and your members, I do think every association thinks member first, but your people are so critical to being able to serve those members. So I love that two-pronged thought and approach to it. And then the changing media landscape. Boy, do you hit the nail on the head there. People have to be ready. This year more than ever, with another election, presidential election coming up, it's going to be crowded. You need to think outside the box. You need to hit some of those new ways of getting your voice and your message out there, like influencers. And you've got to be really smart and strategic. So I love what you all are doing and think you're really on the right track there.
Thank you. I'm happy to hear that you agree.
And we're talking about CES, and obviously the technology industry is known for its fast-paced, constant evolution. How does CTA stay ahead of the curve, identifying and addressing those next big trends in consumer technology?
Well, we are fortunate to have a brilliant market research team. And they are out there. They are looking at everything. They are not only analyzing 2024 really sets a lot of future trends, and you start to see what's emerging and bubbling. So they're looking at that, but they're also looking elsewhere, and they are sitting down with our teams and they're saying, here are the trends we're seeing. Here are the opportunities. And then the amazing CES team takes all of that and they brainstorm on ways to create opportunities for that new market at CES, whether it's a networking event or a conference program or a speaker in that area or a new area on the show floor. Sometimes it's a strategy with the keynotes. Beauty tech is an area where we were seeing some technology emerge, whether it was the use of AI or sensor technology, even augmented reality. And L'Oreal keynoted CES 2024. And that probably seemed a little outside the box, but it was great. And it really drove a whole, group of beauty tech, which it's an official category at CES, and there's beauty tech on the show floor. We're seeing that a little bit with fashion tech. So these trends bubble up, and we try to think of creative ways. It can't be one size fits all for every new and emerging category. We have to think about it in ways that make sense, that one, we can actually deliver on and deliver on in a really amazing way. And two, make sense for that industry sector. But a lot of it is led by the brilliant work of our research team and the folks there who are looking into the future and telling us where we need to be.
It's so exciting to see what's coming next. And leading into what you see, yes, I always still follow. That's one thing I really miss, and I'll always miss from working there, was going to that show and watching the news every year. I get so excited about everything that comes out of it. And I feel like you do start to see the new trends there because you have those outside the box speakers and things you wouldn't expect. And then all of a sudden, click, you see it. That's connected to technology, and people got it. But I still joke, CES, since that was my first job, that was the very first trade show I went to. So I had no idea that this was not normal. And I remember that CTA sent me to another organization's trade show. And I still feel bad to this day because I asked one of their workers where the rest of the trade show was. So I think they've forgotten this.
Oh my gosh.
Those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
It's so true. And it's just the same sense we had beauty tech at CES 2024. We also had construction and industrial tech. That is an area that we're seeing more and more companies want to be at CES in that space. We had John Deere keynote the year before. And this year we had HD Hyundai keynote, which they talked about their autonomous construction robots and equipment and machinery. And it was just really fascinating.
Very cool. So outside of CS, one of the things that I love that CTA does so well is really showcase innovation for lawmakers and bring it to them and help them understand. So how do you see that continuing to evolve and your role in shaping that dialogue around technology and public policy?
That is such a fun part of the job, and for our policy team and our members to get to experience, right? Delivering and demoing innovation for lawmakers. And we do it through a couple of ways. One, of course, traditional lobbying and fly-ins and meetings on the Hill. But my favorite way is we have a week. We just had it in the spring. It's called Tech Week. And this is a series of events. We did a briefing at the White House. We had a very small expo, a small CES on the Hill. We had just over 20 exhibitors, and members of Congress, so many members of Congress came through to our innovation house on Capitol Hill, and they got to see these exhibitors and they got to talk to them. We had a company called EssilorLuxottica who they create eyeglasses that have an over-the-counter hearing aid in the temple. So that was great because members of Congress can actually demo it and put it on and hear it and see the technology. Dexcom was there with their over-the-counter continuous glucose monitoring device, which is just so revolutionary. And Amazon is there and Intel is there, and they're all showcasing some really amazing solutions. And it's a wonderful opportunity for lawmakers and their staff to have a hands-on experience, to demo technology, to see how tech works for good, and to talk to the companies in an inviting environment that's really convenient for them. They just have to walk across the street. Still, we try and make it very simple. So I love CES on the Hill. And then we do a Digital Patriots Dinner. And we honor 2 members of Congress, and we thank them for their work focused on the future of innovation.
Amazing. That's awesome.
That is. And thank you so much for this conversation. And before we log off, what we like to do is have our listeners get to know you a little bit more on a personal level. So we do a lightning round question and answers. Our first question is, where did you grow up?
Winchester, Virginia. It's a tiny little town, like an hour and a half west of here.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Nice.
What is your Starbucks order or your morning beverage of choice?
Coffee, but I'm so boring. It's just the plain coffee with cream.
That is okay.
If it's hot, that's amazing.
Yep. Like caffeine, hot, perfect.
Yeah.
If you won the lottery tomorrow, would you still work?
Yes, I love my job and everybody here. It's fun. I would totally work.
Oh, I love that answer.
I would
That's
maybe have a
nice.
much more fabulous wardrobe and handbag collection and shoe collection, but I would definitely work.
And what's the last show that you binge watched?
The last television, oh, Suits. I'm
Oh, I
I'm like
love
25
that.
years too late.
I've never seen an episode and it's on my list to watch.
It's so good.
I loved it. Oh my gosh. I binged it as well. I watched like nonstop when I started watching it.
Oh, it's great. It's everything you want in a little law drama.
What's a food that you could not live without?
Sweet green salad. I get sweet green like every day. I feel like Colleen, we were always getting sweet green back in the day when it first opened here. We were all so excited. I love sweet green, and now we have a sweet green bay in the office, where an outpost where everybody we can put in our orders and they'll deliver them all together. It's really fun.
Oh, that's obviously you guys love sweet green.
We love sweet green here. It's a big salad eating office.
Last question. What is a bucket list travel destination for you?
I think I would probably say Australia. It's so far away. I have a friend who moved there 7 years ago, and I would love to go visit, but it's a commitment.
We always say that. We're like, oh, just getting over that flight but same.
It's a
It looks
commitment.
beautiful there.
I know.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Kinsey, again, thank you. Thank you. This was an amazing conversation. I know our listeners will love it and so much great stuff. So we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for asking me. And it's so good to connect with you again and see you and catch up with you and all that good stuff.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks for listening to the Association 100 podcast, brought to you by the A100 publishing team, powered by Onward and Upward Marketing and Communications. You can subscribe to the Association 100 podcast on Spotify so you'll never miss out, or listen via our website at theassociation100.com. Follow us for all the latest insights and trends impacting the world of associations. Thanks for tuning in.